Hello boys and girls, it's me, like it's 1985, in today's Flashback to the 1980s. We'll take a look at the Star Wars Punch Out and Make It book. And I have actually all three books from the first trilogy, starting off with the Star Wars. Now you can see it says Star Wars Punch Out and Make It book, no scissors, no paste required. And once we look at the book, it'll become more obvious what this is all about. So rather than tell you, I'll show you. We got a nice picture of the X-Wing and the Death Star. And here's what you can make. R2-D2, C-3PO, X-Wing plane, land speeder, energy pistol, lightsaber, TIE fighter, and sandcrawler. So let's have a look and crack this book open. Alright, so first up, we have the parts to make the sandcrawler. And you can see I've already cut out one of the parts, and just to kind of demonstrate what it is, it's just a thick piece of paper, not really cardboard. So when you actually punch it out, so to speak, you want to be careful just to make sure you're not going to tear anything off or bend anything or crease anything. But you can see here, you just punch out these parts and they give you instructions on how to make these, diagrams and written instructions. And you have more parts there, so you kind of get an idea there, I think. And there's a look at the final product, so you kind of get an idea of what you can make. Now, it's interesting because you can actually make characters. In this case, we have R2-D2, which it's not limited to just vehicles. You actually can make some of the characters from the Star Wars universe, which is kind of interesting. You can see parts for R2-D2's leg here. I think these fold together. And you can see what they look at like on the back. Here we have just a kind of a grayscale image that corresponds to the color on the opposite side of the page. So you get the idea of how this works. And we'll just move briefly here through the other ones. X-Wing plane. I just want you to give you a good look at what they look like before they're punched out and assembled. And we have land speeder. And all of these letters here are basically slots that you would insert a tab into. And I think what I'll do is, once I go through all of these, I will see what you would like me to make on camera. And then I will go ahead and film that and sort of review it, I guess. So kind of keep an idea in the back of your mind what you would like me to make, and I will go ahead and do that. So that was the land speeder. And here we have the energy pistol, so you get to make weapons too. And I'm being fairly slow with this because I want to give you an idea of what it looks like, because this is something you wouldn't necessarily see every day. I got these off of eBay, complete. Nothing in these three books was punched out, which is really nice. And looks like we have more parts. Well, this is actually the TIE fighter, but we have the parts over here starting out. And more parts. Here are the panels for the starfighter, or the wings, I guess you call them. And moving on, C-3PO. And as far as the artwork goes, pretty detailed. It's pretty interesting that they can pull off creating a three-dimensional object from basically, I guess you call this one dimension. So yeah, you got C-3PO there, instructions for the assembly, and lightsaber. I remember as a kid I made a lightsaber out of a flashlight and kind of a rolled up piece of paper. I might have to do a review on that because I don't know. I'm sure other kids came up with that idea as well. But here you can make a kind of a detailed looking lightsaber. Alright, so that completes the look at the Star Wars Punch Out and Make It book. Moving on to The Empire Strikes Back. And we have a picture of Luke Skywalker. I've got the Imperial Walkers in the background, Tauntaun, and the probe droid. So, let's take a look at what we get in this book. First up, oh yes, we start off with a heavy hitter. We have the Snow Walker, aka AT-AT, aka the Imperial Walker. And you can see pretty detailed parts there in terms of the drawing. Looks like that's the main body unit, and you get the legs. I'm curious to how this works. This is one of the ones I want to build, and I'm probably thinking a lot of you want to see that as well. Again, I'm taking my time because I want to show you guys what this is all about. You know, I could go faster, but I don't know. It's kind of cool, I think. Not everybody has the opportunity maybe to see these. And certainly some of these bring back a lot of memories. Now, Tauntaun, looks like a mess, but supposedly it works out. You can see kind of it taking shape there. You can see the fur details there. Oh, there's the face. Looks kind of weird. And as you can see, there is a line drawing of what it should look like once it's assembled. So that's pretty cool. Now here's the Yoda's dwelling, which I don't really like. It looks pretty generic for one thing. I mean, it kind of looks like Yoda's house on Dagobah. So you got the back of those pieces. And you know, I'm just kind of skimming through these because these aren't really of much interest to me, but you know, there it is. Still parts for his dwelling, and of course the assembly directions. And we got R2-D2 and Yoda there, which are both cutouts. And you can see here what it looks like at the end. And we move on to a snow speeder. Okay, we're pretty much done with this book almost. More parts for the snowspeeder here. And final assembly directions and diagrams. And we have something called the flying power models. To fly these models, you must assemble your star launcher first. And the star launcher is the last thing you make here. And directions to make the star launcher. Man, this looks like it's... Oh, here's where the rubber band comes in. I don't know if I showed you this, but there's a rubber band and a little baggie right here. And it actually is to make the launcher. So apparently you use this to launch the flying power models, so to speak, there. And more instructions. And finally, you do have actually some cutouts on the back here of the last, well, the back of the book there. Alright, so finally, we move on to the Return of the Jedi. And here they list what you get to make: Imperial Shuttle, Sail Barge, Skiff, Speeder Bike, and Hang Glider. With a nice picture of the Jabba's Imperial, what am I saying? Jabba's Sail Barge. Alright, so let's take a look here. Return of the Jedi. And the first thing you can make is the Speeder Bike. More parts. And a really big cutout of the Scout Biker, Imperial Scout Biker. And moving on, we have the Ewok hang glider with a cutout Ewok. And let's see, Imperial Shuttle. This is one I really want to make as well. I bet this might get a lot of votes too. Imperial Shuttle. So I'm actually going to make these the ones I want to make, and if they happen to be the ones that you all want to see made, then, well, it'll be already made. I hope you don't choose the Yoda's dwelling, because that looks pretty boring, to be honest. I might just use my veto power and say, no, I'm not doing that. But here you go, the final assembled three-dimensional model of the Imperial Shuttle. Cool. And some more parts for said shuttle. And the last one, but the biggest cutout here, we have the sail barge. And I'll take my time on this one because this looks like, I think I did this one as a kid. I made this one as a kid back in the 1980s. And some railing. You can definitely see this looks like the Imperial, what am I saying, Jabba's sail barge. And on this one, because this is going to curve, you see you have some score lines here which will allow you to bend this in a roughly circular fashion. Here's the sail that goes on top of the sail barge. Just more instructions for the assembly process. And more parts here. Additional sail. Things are starting to come together here. You can see the sail barge is taking shape. And this is the skiff, which was a smaller vehicle that Han Solo and Luke Skywalker were on, as well as Lando Calrissian. He was in disguise, of course, as a guard. So good thing they include that, so you can have the Jabba's sail barge and the skiff, displayed next to each other. And we got parts for the skiff here, cut out of Chewbacca, some more characters there. The Fett Man, of course, Mr. Calrissian, Mr. Solo, and more instructions. And on the back you do have a really big cutout here for the sail barge. You've got the deck, as you can see there, and the bottom unit for the sail barge. And this is on the last page, well, the back cover rather. So yeah, there you go. Really kind of cool stuff. Something you don't really see today, I don't think. So what you've been watching, in case you fell asleep, is you've been watching a flashback to the 1980s review with me, like it's 1985. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you later.